Before we can implement this restaurant search form in our Razor page, we're going to need a data service that supports searching by name. So let's swing over to the ode2food.data project. I want to open up iRestaurant data. And there's various different approaches that we could use to provide this search by name functionality. I even have an entire course dedicated to this type of topic. But what I'm going to do is take a very simple approach. In the application, let's assume instead of calling get all, the application, when it wants to list restaurants, is always going to say get restaurants by name. So we'll always be getting the restaurants by name and passing in a string parameter that represents the name of the restaurant or the partial name that we want to match. And the way we can implement this method is if you pass an empty name or a null name, we'll return all the restaurants in any case. But I now need to implement this method. So let me copy the method name, come down into the in-memory restaurant data service, and paste this in as the name to replace getAll. And yes, this is going to take a name parameter. We could even provide a default value here so that the parameter becomes optional. And to implement this method, I just now need to add a where operator. So let's first check if the parameter is null or empty. So where string.isNull or empty, this name parameter, or someone has passed in a name, so we need to make sure that r, which is the restaurant, r.name starts with this value. We could do an exact match and say r.name equals name. But let's do something a little more fun and use starts with. With that, I can save the data service. Let's close that file. We're now ready to go into the page model and start talking about how we're going to implement onGet with this search functionality.